Much like with the first Borderlands, Borderlands 2 I only ever really dabbled in by doing the very beginning of the game. However, I have now munched my way through the story. I did a good chunk of the side content, and unlike the first game, which took me just under or just over 11 hours to beat, Borderlands 2 took me just under 20 hours, I'd say, because it could just be me, but I found Borderlands 2 to be more difficult than the first game. Again, that could just be me, just sucking straight ass, you never know. However, I have to say, as a sequel, Borderlands 2 is damn good. It's phenomenal. It does everything right that the first game did, turned it all up to 11, and gave you more weapons, more side quests, more DLC, which obviously comes with the game these days, with the Game of the Year edition. It feels they've improved upon the gameplay mechanics. The shooting as well is very much improved. Although the shooting in the first game and movement was absolutely fine, they just tweaked it a bit more here, which was very much appreciated. I chose the character Zero, and let's be honest, I look like Wolverine. Just look at me here on the title screen. I look like Wolverine. It looks so cool. You can unlock all different kinds of cosmetic, different heads and different color schemes and whatnot for your character, which I thought was a great addition as well. And just even playing the game, I had a great time. There were a couple of instances where I had to restart the mission or the game as such, and I had no issues whatsoever with playing the game until I tried capturing this footage. As soon as I did that, the game didn't like it. I can capture footage from a lot more modern and more graphically demanding games, but for some weird reason, as soon as I fired up OBS to capture footage of Borderlands 2, the game started dropping frames and skipping, which I found to be very odd, but you know, it is what it is. So I do apologise if the footage might get a bit sketchy in places. That's just what it is. And this footage is from about just over halfway through the main story, so I don't think it's given too much away. But for those that have not played Borderlands 2, if you ask me, I'd start with this one so far, because the first game is good, don't get me wrong, but this one has a lot more story, a lot more of a through line, and Handsome Jack, which is the antagonist of the game, is a douche of epic proportions. For what he did to Bloodwing alone is cruel, evil, and damn right unforgivable. Those who know. It was a mission which I thought had a happy ending. It turned out it did not. And I felt really bad for Bloodwing because I didn't want to do any damage. Like I said, I'm not going to give anything away, but if you know, you know. Now, all the weapons in Borderlands 2 I found to be a lot more epic than they were in the first one. And it's a bit of a double-edged sword and mixed feelings for me, because I think Borderlands 2 is a fantastic game. I'd go so far as to say it's one of those 10 out of 10 games. However, the resources put into Borderlands 2, I think, were siphoned from when they were doing Aliens Colonial Marines. Now, I did mention that in my first Borderlands video, and no, I have still not forgiven them, Gearbox Software, for what they did to Aliens Colonial Marines, but they did make one hell of a game here with Borderlands 2, and it's just, you gotta take the rough with the smooth. And I did find it a lot more, the main stories were a lot better in Borderlands 2 as well. They were a lot more stretched out and had a lot more in them. The new hub world of Sanctuary was pretty cool, especially when you have to have it fly and then it becomes its own separate thing from the world. All of the different biomes within Borderlands 2 also added to just everything, because of course in Borderlands 1 it was primarily just desert and canyons, whereas here in Borderlands 2 you start off in the snow. There's also grasslands, there's also some really cool forested areas. There's also that you can go back to the dust, to the desert and all that. There was just so much variation in the different environments, and because of the absolute mountain of side quests that you get to do, and plus with the DLC and obviously the introduction of Tiny Tina and all that, that was all really cool. She is super psychotic and does remind me of my 9-year-old daughter, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But yeah, I cannot talk highly enough about Borderlands 2. I didn't have nowhere near the issues as I had with the first game. Like I said, there was a couple of bits. That's when I tried capturing footage. But apart from that, I thought it was great. The game it's got great humor. It's got really good writing. The characters are really awesome. The new characters that you can choose from, there are 6, I believe. There's 4 of the base game and then 2 added on for DLC, but I chose Zero the Assassin, who is part of the base game. And once again, it's got RPG mechanics and looter shooting. It's everything dialed up. And what you can also do is unlock these medals by doing challenges, and there's loads of them. And then you use these medals to increase percentages in your reload speed, and your shield recharge, and your maximum health, all of that kind of stuff. But if you're looking for a game to while away time, and it also works perfectly on the Steam Deck as well, that's where I primarily was playing it, on the Steam Deck. It's the same with the first game, runs perfectly fine, but then some people did comment on my last video saying that if you run the game on a Linux software, it runs better, and of course Steam Deck is run on Linux, not Windows, so that's probably why they run perfectly on there. So I do recommend getting it if you have a Steam Deck. Perfectly playable on that. I mean, it plays on the Switch, so if it plays on the Switch, it's playing on the Steam Deck. But please let me know in the comments down below if you like Borderlands 2, if this one is your favourite. And as always, thank you very much for watching.
Stop it. Injuries. Checked out.